Merry Grizzmas Eve to one and all. Ho, 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 ho. That's not Santa Claus you hear. That is a very sad Joe Mullinax. Ty Jerome out for at least a month. The Grizzlies are somehow hardship waiver eligible before they even play an NBA basketball game. How do the Grizzlies endure this tough start to the season? Plus, Damichael Cole and I give you our season predictions for the team and players. It is a season preview edition of Locked On Grizzlies. Let's lock in.
You are Locked On Grizzlies, your daily Memphis Grizzlies podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It is I, Joe Mullinax, joined by my wonderful co-host, the very suave, the very debonair, the very handsome, very brilliant, award-winning Memphis Grizzlies beat writer for the Commercial Appeal there in Memphis, Tennessee, Damichael Cole. He is in mid-season form. If you don't have a subscription to the Commercial Appeal, you most certainly need to get one as soon as possible because Damichael is lined up and hitting them out of the park, home run after home run after home run, just like the Tennessee Vols used to do until their new manager goes to the San Francisco Giants. Completely ruins that whole thing.
He ain't signed the paper yet. Don't do it.
Too soon? Okay.
Montello isn't leaving us. Don't do it.
Anyway, Damichael Cole is here. He does a phenomenal job at the Commercial Appeal. But more importantly, at least for the next 30 minutes, he does a phenomenal job with us here on Locked On Grizzlies. Make sure you're liking, commenting, rating, reviewing, subscribing, wherever you get podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Google, YouTube. Make sure you are making Damichael and I a part of your NBA and Memphis Grizzlies content consumption each and every time that an episode drops. Become an everydayer if you're not already one. In the days and weeks to come, we're going to talk about all sorts of different things that we're trying this year to keep building up our community of Locked On Grizzlies. We're so excited for what's going to be coming down the pike, and hopefully you're excited for the NBA season to come. I'm going to be honest with you, partner. I usually feel a lot more excited on this Grizzmas Eve about Grizzlies basketball being back. It's hard to feel that excited when no Zach Edey for the foreseeable future, no Brandon Clark, no Scottie Pippen Jr., and now confirmed by the Grizzlies calf strain for Ty Jerome, at least out for a month. In fairness, as we talked about on yesterday's show, you don't want to mess with a calf strain, right?
Nope.
So I would rather them err on the side of caution. A month, if it's longer than that, so be it. You want him to be healthy. You don't want a Tyrese Halliburton, whatever kind of situation to occur. Don't want to rush back from this. But that does indeed, as I mentioned in the open, once the Grizzlies play 3 basketball games, they will be eligible by NBA rules to apply for 10-day contract hardship waivers so they can add bodies to this roster that is banged up already. We're going to talk about season predictions later on in the show, but it's hard to be too sunny in this moment when we're already talking about next man up and they haven't even played a game that counts yet.
Yeah, I just feel like we're just, tape recorders at this point. And I know a lot of people are just tired of this being a thing, but it's been a thing, since 2022-2023 season when the Grizzlies were, I just think the Steven Adams injury just snowballed all of this. And he got injured at the end of a game and he goes diving into, the scoreboard. Some people even say the Ja Morant knee jerk, kind of started this the year prior when in the second round against Golden State. But yeah, Steven Adams gets injured, and then Brandon Clark was a month and a half later. And it's just been all hell since then. I mean, we saw 2024 season play out, and then just past season. And now, I mean, it's the season hasn't even started yet. This is supposed to be the most exciting time. And for some people, it still is. Because guess what? For the first time since 2021, you're going to have Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. in the lineup. So that is something to be excited about. But beyond that, I mean, here we are, Joe. We're talking about a hardship, exception. I know some people have mentioned a disabled player exception and things like that. There are ways for the Grizzlies to go out and get players, and we'll see. What they prefer. You mentioned it. I talked about it on yesterday's show. For one, these players would have to miss at least 3 games, so they can't just go out and sign someone right now unless they use Joe's option, which was release a player who right now is also dealing with an injury, Vince Williams Jr., who's dealing with a heel injury right now, and we're going to find out more here soon on what's the outcome of that. So, it's just injuries all over the place, but there's just a lot of different pathways the Grizzlies can go with kind of adding to the roster. But I think, for me, it's the big situation. And we talked about Javon Small a little bit recently. And at least you have an option that has shown, something in the preseason. And maybe eventually you say, okay, we need a more veteran option or whatever the case may be. But I'm more concerned about the big man situation than the backcourt situation.
I got to tell you, the Grizzlies, I think this is the 25th season in Memphis. They're doing all sorts of awesome stuff to hype up opening night tomorrow night. Got the press release about that yesterday.
Yeah.
Shout out to Grizzlies PR for keeping me on the media list. Every year I get a little bit nervous. I get a little bit, haven't got an email in a minute, still on the list. So shout out to the good folks over at Grizz PR for that. But I want to read off some names to you here, partner. Again, the 2026 season, 10 years ago. Where were you 10 years ago, Damichael? You were in college or what were you?
Freshman year of college.
I am so old.
Just off the Knoxville.
So I was covering the Grizzlies as the site manager for Grizzly Bear Blues, rest in peace, over at SB Nation. 28 players logged minutes for the Memphis Grizzlies in this season. 28. It was the record. The Grizzlies broke their own record, if I remember correctly, several years ago. But some of the names that logged playing time for the Grizzlies in this season, Bryce Cotton, Russ Smith, Jordan Adams, Elliott Williams, Alex Stevenson, not Stevenson. Don't you dare say Stevenson. Alex Stevenson, Xavier Munford, Birdman. People forget that the Birdman, Chris Anderson, spent some time in Memphis.
There was a time.
Hairston, Ray McCollum, Jordan Farmar. Goodness gracious. It kind of feels like we're starting down that path. And hopefully we're not going to go that deep into the Rolodex of NBA players this season. But the guys that are on the roster right now, Damichael, who do you think stands to benefit most from this present reality? Because, again, we talked about Javon Small. I think that the collective wisdom, unsurprisingly, is not with my idea. The collective wisdom is with waiving somebody and bringing in a Precious Ashua or a Charles Bassey, like you've talked about. That's kind of where a lot of folks' heads are at, and that makes total sense. I want to stress that. I don't think that's a bad idea. I'm fascinated by the roster as it currently stands. Like, who is that next man up? I want it to be Cedric Coward very badly. I'm worried that it's going to be John Conchar, just because I have post-traumatic stress disorder from Taylor Jenkins breaking glass in case of emergency, and the answer being John Conchar. Who do you see? Again, Small is the easy answer. Who do you think is going to be the one that gets the largest opportunity coming out of all of these injuries to begin the season?
Yeah, that's who I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with Cedric Coward. Small is the easy. I think we can pretty much say that is pretty much factored in. We've talked a lot about Javon Small. I actually had a story that came out this morning about just what to expect from him. I had a conversation with him in the locker room where it was just me and him talking, and I learned some things about him. And we talked to him after practice on yesterday. So go check out that story over at thecommercialappeal.com. And, we've talked a lot about Javon Small, at least in the last couple of days. We're going to talk a lot more about him. But to shift in a different direction, there is the other fact, because these aren't just point guards, in Ty Jerome and Scottie Pippen Jr. These are guys that, if you talk about the second unit, it was going to be Ty Jerome and Scottie Pippen Jr. It wasn't a either or situation. It was a both situation. So with this being the case, not only do you have the hole at backup point guard that you're expecting Javon Small to step into, there's the backup wing, the two guard spot. Now that is an opening, and it could be Cam Spencer, it could be Cedric Coward, it could be John Conchar, it could be Gigi Jackson. And I think two players that I expect to get time now are just those two guys, Cedric Coward and Gigi Jackson. I think Gigi Jackson's scoring will be needed. I think Cedric Coward's defense, the fact that you're losing Scottie Pippen Jr., that is your best on-ball perimeter defender off the bench, when you factor in Jalen Wells and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope being in the starting lineup. But you need Cedric Coward to be that third guy. You need a third guy. You can't just depend on Jalen Wells and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. I mean, you can. They'll probably be fine. But Cedric Coward defensively is going to have to really make a name for himself. I mean, here we are again talking about a couple rookies being big impact players for the Grizzlies, but it's just the nature of the situation.
I can't stress this enough, and this isn't going to surprise anybody that's an everyday or the Locked On Grizzlies. Cam Spencer would be a fine answer. Cedric Coward is my preference. I'd also be cool with Gigi Jackson. The one way that Tuomas Isalo is going to piss me off on our post-game edition, the first post-game show of Locked On Grizzlies for this season, if it's John Conchar. If that's the choice, be prepared, everybody, for a 10-minute rant about how.
Can I say what would annoy me?
What's that?
Because we know how you feel about John Conchar, and it's look, Joe.
It's unhealthy. I want to stress. It's illogical. John Conchar, if I'm ever in Memphis again, probably walk up to me, punch me in the face. Hey, it's nothing personal. It is a completely irrational thought at this point, but I just have to avoid that at all costs.
So the one thing for me would be, and I really think this is going to happen. I'm mentally prepared for it to happen. Look, I'm sure everyone else probably, I don't even know if this is a big thing to other people, but I don't want to see Cam Spencer at point guard anymore.
Oh, I agree. Completely.
But we've seen it a lot, right? Yeah. And I feel like it's not a good developmental path. And in the summer league, when we saw it, it was like, okay, it's cool, right? You know, they did this with Dez. They've done this with guards in the past, you know, allow them to play on the ball, off the ball. And then in the preseason, we saw it. I'm like, come on, man. This is a guy who is one of the purest spot-up shooters when you put him in that situation. But it's kind of like a Luke Kennard light situation when he's on the ball, whereas it's harder for him to generate those same looks that make him the efficient three-point shooter that he is. So if you put him on the ball, you're not getting the best version of Cam Spencer. And I just look, if you got to split 48 minutes between Javon Small and Ja Morant, I would do that before I'm starting to put, Cam Spencer as that next point guard.
Absolutely. I agree completely. We're on the same page there. Hit up Damichael at Damichael C. Hit me up at Joe Mullinax on X. Let us know in the comments. Who's the next man up for you? We're both on the same page. It's Cedric Coward. For me, it's anybody but John Conchar. For Damichael, he's pretty cool with it. He's even more cool with John Conchar than I am. He just doesn't want to see Cam Spencer at the point, and I support that as well. When we come back here on Locked On Grizzlies, we are going to start our prediction part of the program. Grizzlies Player Awards. That's where we're going to begin. Stick around here on Locked On Grizzlies. Today's episode of Locked On Grizzlies is brought to you by Built. Nobody likes paying rent, but if you must, you might as well get something for it. That's where Built comes in. Built is changing the game by turning your rent payment into real rewards that you can actually use. When you pay rent through Built, you earn flexible points that can be redeemed toward hundreds of hotels and airlines, a future rent payment, your next Lyft ride, and more. But Built isn't just about rent. It's about rewarding you around your entire neighborhood. I love that with Built, your rent finally works for you. You're earning points every month on something that you already have to pay. And Built has made everyday life feel more rewarding. From your neighborhood to your travel plans, turn your rent into rewards and start earning points around your neighborhood by going to joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNBA. That's JOINBILT.com/LockedOnNBA. Make sure to use that link so they know that we sent you. Today's episode of Locked On Grizzlies is also brought to you by Damichael's favorite advertiser, Skims. When I found out that Skims was making underwear for men, I was personally intrigued. I got to tell you, I've heard so much about their quality from friends and family. I had to give it a try. And let me tell you, it lives up to the hype. I've always had issues with underwear. I don't know about you guys. Fit, comfort, finding the right style for me. Skims changed all of that. Their men's line offers something for everyone, from boxer briefs to classic briefs, all designed with a personal, perfect balance of comfort and style. I really enjoy the 5-inch boxer brief. I'm hooked. They're perfect for my everyday lifestyle. They move with me at practice as a coach. They never lose their shape, and they stay in place all day. Whether I'm working out, running errands, whatever the case might be, they're the most comfortable and reliable underwear I have ever owned. Plus, the lightweight material feels amazing, almost like you're wearing nothing at all. Shop Skims Men's at skims.com. Let them know that we sent you. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey and select our show in the drop-down menu that follows. Make sure you're checking out Skims today. All righty, so player predictions, player awards, Damichael Cole. I'll get us started here because I'm going to come in hot a little bit. And I think for the first time, this is, I'm killing the lead a little bit, what we're building up to in terms of the anticipation.
That's good. I'll come in hot with my first one too. Okay.
Well, I think you and I are going to disagree in a way that people are not going to expect later. Here is my official player award prediction. Ja Morant is going to make an All-NBA team. It'll probably be the third team, but Ja Morant is going to make an All-NBA team, and here's why. Ja Morant has opportunity. For all the reasons that we've outlined already, it's him and Javon Small, baby. That's it. So Ja is going to have 34 or so minutes a night, maybe more, to play in this scheme and in this system. Ja Morant has every incentive to remind the NBA exactly who he is, not just because of endorsement deals or trying to redeem or any redemption tour. He has a potential contract extension that could be
A lot of
negotiated.
money. A lot of
And
money.
you want to maximize that money that is possible as the salary cap continues to expand. If he gets all NBA recognition, he wins another award, he can increase whatever that amount might be on his next contract. So Ja has all the incentives in the world, plus the opportunity. I think that Ja Morant is going to be an all NBA player this season. That is my Grizzlies player award prediction. And that may be hints as to what I'm going to say later on in the show.
Yeah. Okay. I'm okay with that one, and because one of the things that I've said all season is this should be just a really big year for Ja Morant. I mean, when you factor in the inconsistencies of the last 2+ seasons, and the injuries have been a big part of that. Of course, the suspension too. And you factor in the fact that I just always go back to the fact that this offense, the way it's built, he is the primary ball handler in the starting unit. So he's going to have to be ultra aggressive. There's no Desmond Bain to throw the ball off to and run to the corner, because if you do that to Jalen Wells or Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, offense probably won't flow as pretty as it did, with Desmond Bain, being able to be that guy who can, give you that breather. So, look, at least early in the season, he's going to have to be ultra aggressive. I think the numbers will back that up. The thing is, they're going to have to win, in order for him to do that. So, but I do think that one is very realistic for me. As much as I've been complaining about the perimeter defense, I'm going to go with a defensive option, and I'm going to say Jalen Wells puts his name in stone as an all defensive member in his second season.
Ooh,
look,
I like that.
Look, now this is the thing with this one. Jalen Wells, we've seen it in preseason. He's guarding the primary guy. It's not been Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Now, when he wants to get a break or whatever, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope picks up that matchup. But he is the guy in terms of guarding the top perimeter options on opposing teams. It's not just that. I've seen Jalen Wells up close since Summer League, and I've talked about it on here. He's bigger, Joe. Like it's very apparent. And when we talk about what he struggled with last season, it was those bigger, bulkier forwards. And I think he knows that. And he's like, I'm not letting these dudes bully me anymore. And he has the will. He has the want to. He doesn't straight up say what his award hopes are, but he'll tell. He told me something like, if other people heard them, they think I'm crazy. So I think that's something on the list that he has as a goal as well. I'm going to say Jalen Wells makes a name for himself as an NBA defender.
And I have a dark horse candidate. Everybody seems to have just penciled in Cooper Flagg as the rookie of the year. I'm not sure he's going to get the opportunity. Again, opportunity matters when you're considering these awards. I'm not sure he's going to, with Anthony Davis there, Kyrie Irving eventually returns. D'Angelo Russell is on that team, and I just find it fascinating that he is one of those players. Russell Westbrook is very similar in that way too, and I love Russell Westbrook. People just like, oh yeah, D'Angelo Russell's totally going to work with the Mavericks. Like he's totally worked on the other 5 NBA teams he's been on, or whatever the number might be. It seems like 5, at least off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I like Ace Bailey of the Utah Jazz. I think he's probably the number 1 choice for me for rookie of the year. Number 2 as a dark horse. Number 2 is realistically Cooper Flagg, but as a dark horse candidate,
I was like, you're pushing it down.
Again, you marry opportunity with skill.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm just really drunk off the Kool-Aid, but I love me some Cedric Howard, and I think
I don't think that's Kool-Aid.
Maybe not rookie
that's
of the
some
year.
type of liquor, but
maybe
might be some beer.
Maybe not rookie of the year, but all rookie team. I mean, 2 Grizzlies made the all rookie team last year. I think Cedric Howard could be in that mix this year.
I think all rookie team is the win. Not just last year. It was Gigi Jackson the year before that, and so they have kind of a little thing going here. Gigi Jackson was second team, and then we saw last season where Zach Edey and Jalen Wells were both first team all rookie. I don't see him making the all rookie first team. Because of the fact that the guys that you just mentioned, it's Ace Bailey. It's the opportunity he's going to get. But you didn't mention one guy that I think is going to be pretty good, and that's Dylan Harper. And I think he has a really good opportunity too. And, one day the day will come, and I'm saying it already because people will think I'm crazy while I'm saying it right now. But Dylan Harper is eventually going to, supplant Stephon Castle in hierarchy over there. Like he's gonna pass him. Like
I like
it's
that.
clear as day. But anyways, with that being said, I think Cedric Coward, you mentioned the opportunity. If he plays well defensively, like we expect him to, and the offense is going to come along. I think gradually as the season goes on, we're going to see him get better and better. And then come January, we're going to see just more like double-digit scoring performances. And then March, April, he's going to really kind of start to put it together. But I think that's kind of how his offensive season is going to go. So yeah, I do see all rookie second team for him, but it's hard for me to see anything beyond that right now.
I think Ace Bailey of the Utah Jazz might be Tracy McGrady. And I'm again, maybe there's something I'm drinking in the Kool-Aid that's a little aggressive on this Tuesday edition of the show.
I might need to talk to the Mrs. Mullinax over there. I don't know what
Tell you what, but I don't know. I watched a little bit. You're really sad when you're watching Utah Jazz preseason basketball.
Hey, I mean, he gives you a reason to watch now.
Screens and rises up now on those jumpers. I remember T-Mac back in the day, and I'm just saying. In a month or so, we might revisit this and see how crazy I sounded.
Yeah.
Hit up Damichael at Damichael C. Hit me up at Joe Mullinax on X. Let us know in the comments. What are your Grizzlies player award predictions? Do you agree with our selections? When we come back here on the show, we're going to close out the season preview edition of the podcast. The question everybody wants to know, are the Memphis Grizzlies a playoff team or not? Stick around here on Locked On Grizzlies. Today's episode of Locked On Grizzlies is brought to you by Mint Mobile. If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for just $15 a month. Mint makes it simple. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You're going to bring your own phone and keep your same number and contacts. I love that you're getting the same quality service that you had before, but for a fraction of the price, and the setup is super easy. You keep your number and you're running in minutes. Are you ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. That's mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may be slow, above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Go and check them out. All right, Damichael. This is what our audience has been waiting for. We've been building to this moment. It is Grizzmas Eve. Everybody's excited. Shinedown is performing at halftime. Moneybag Yo is narrating hype videos.
Joe, I had to hit up a couple people to find out who Shinedown is.
That is one of the most unsurprising things I have ever heard on this podcast, that you would not know who Shinedown is. I dare you to tell me to dang it, I'm blanking on. Dare you to tell me to walk through fire. See, I had to sing it. And that's how I remember the lyric. I love that song. Shout out to Shinedown. So anyway,
Shinedown.
I'm going to let you go first because I don't want the episode to end on a complete downer, not to kill your thunder here. But
not to kill my thunder? My thunder? What you see? The thunder. Wow. Okay.
Again, I'm telling you, it's the Kool-Aid, man. Are the Memphis Grizzlies a playoff team or not, Damichael Cole?
So I'm going to say my answer, but I'm going to provide some context here. I'm going to say no, but I think it's really, really close. And quite frankly, I think the Grizzlies have to get in that top 6 because the Grizzlies as a play-in team, I don't see that part of it working out. So here's where I stand. I did the math on this and I thought this through. Joe was with me as I was going through the process.
That is true.
And here are my top 7 teams right now, and not in the order, but these are the teams that I have ahead of the Grizzlies. I got the Lakers, the Clippers, the Warriors, the Nuggets, the Thunder, the Timberwolves, and the Rockets.
And just to be specific, I want to make it clear, not in that order. Please don't get in the comments and say that the Lakers are the 1 seed. That is not what Damichael was saying.
And so I'll flip the order around this time, just for anyone that may think that. So Rockets, Timberwolves, Thunder, Denver Nuggets, Golden State Warriors, Los Angeles Clippers, and Los Angeles Lakers. 7 teams. So basically, I think the Grizzlies could be higher than the Kings. I think they could be higher than the Suns. I think they could be higher than the Portland Trail Blazers, the Pelicans. Mavericks and Spurs. Now, the question at that point is, because after those 7 teams, there's one playoff spot remaining, because we didn't say, will there be a play-in team? I 100% believe there'll be a play-in team. We're talking about, will they be one of the 8 teams playing in a 7-game series in the Western Conference? And here's just where I stand. I mean, it's no big secret that I'm not just this huge believer in the Spurs. So there's that. But in addition to that, there's the Mavs, who I think can be really good. And I just got a sense that the Mavs, they'll look however they'll look early in the season. But when Kyrie Irving gets back, and you got second half of his rookie season Cooper Flag, in addition to Anthony Davis, Derek Lively, and the other pieces that they have over there, and you're saying 1 game Grizzlies versus Mavs in a play-in, with Kyrie Irving on the floor, I don't see that going in this current structured Grizzlies. I don't see that going in their favor. So I'm going to say no. But you know what? That's why they play the games. And the other thing is, as I always say about these projections, injuries is always something that you just don't know what's going to happen. And to expect all of those teams that I listed above the Grizzlies to be very healthy would be unrealistic. So someone's going to be hit with something that they don't see coming, and maybe we'll have to adjust at some. But right now, just based on the rosters of these teams, a lot of those teams are just more aggressive than the Grizzlies in upgrading their roster. So I just got to leave it at that.
Look at this negative Nancy that is Damichael
Cole.
Look at the negative vibes that he is bringing to the Locked On Grizzlies season preview episode. Never fear, dear listener, dear viewer, your boy, Positive Patty, Joe Mullinax, has walked into the building. And the Grizzlies are indeed going to be a playoff team. In fact, they are going to be the 6th seed. Damichael, if you would, humor me. Read those 7 teams off one more time.
Okay.
7 that you have in front of the Grizzlies, which is an entirely logical list.
Yeah, because Joe's going to have to take someone off this list.
Exactly.
The Lakers, the Clippers, the Warriors, the Nuggets, the Thunder, the Timberwolves, and the Rockets.
Okay, so you mentioned the Clippers, and I want to stress, if the Clippers stay healthy, I think you can make an argument they're the 2nd best team in the West.
Oldest team, I think they're the oldest team in NBA history. Or
if it was 2019, they would go 18 and or 82-0, right? If it was 2019, but it is not 2019. It is 2025. And if that team stays healthy, for me, is the biggest if of them all in the entire conference. I would say that the smart money is on them not staying healthy. And you don't want to wish that on anybody. But again, you said they're the oldest team in the league. Is that a fair point?
Yeah,
so
they are. Yeah.
I am going to say that the Clippers deal with injury throughout the year, and that has them in that play-in range. And again, you want to talk about a healthy Clippers team in the play-in, that's terrifying, right? So I think they could just say, you know what, we'll be the 7 or 8 seed, and we'll just take on who we take on in the playoffs. Then the Houston Rockets are intriguing to me. And it feels silly to sit here and, because of Fred VanVleet getting hurt, say that the Rockets are going to tumble from the 2 to the 8 or the 9.
Yeah.
But I am curious, Damichael, if you look at their projected starting lineup, who in the world is going to shoot threes outside of Kevin Durant?
Jabari Smith is going to have the year of his life. Alperen Sengun is going to have to leave, because you
see my point?
A lot of people probably didn't see it, Joe. Give them the Houston Rockets starting lineup.
The Houston Rockets starting lineup is probably Sengun, Steven Adams, our boy Steven Adams, Amen Thompson, and then you've got Kevin Durant, and you've got Reed Shepherd. Now, Reed Shepherd is probably the correct answer if you're going.
It's going to be Jabari Smith.
And if it's going to be Jabari Smith and not Reed Shepherd, then that, who in the world is the point guard? Amen Thompson is the point guard. Amen Thompson is probably the most beloved universally player in NBA-dom.
I know, right?
I don't think anybody hates Amen Thompson, but I do think that that's asking a lot of that young man. And I'm surprised that the Houston Rockets have made that choice. That essentially means Kevin Durant is your 2 guard. And if you remember correctly, you and I had a bit of a disagreement earlier on this year
3
about what KD could do as a 3. I'm certainly not convinced he could be a perimeter player the entire time. I think there's a way where the Rockets slip a little bit too. Plus, that all goes without mentioning, Luka Doncic is one of the top 3 or 4 players on the planet.
Yeah.
The LeBron James stuff is fishy in Los Angeles. There's something going on there. It's weird. It stinks. I think there's a lane.
You're saying some chaos is
I'm thinking there's a lane for the Memphis Grizzlies to slide in and be that team that people are like, oh, the Grizzlies are the 5 seed.
Because there's always one team. I mean, there's always somebody.
And I think that, if it weren't for Chauncey Billups, I think it would be the Portland Trailblazers because I really like their roster. But I think Chauncey Billups is a terrible head basketball coach. So I think that's going to hurt Portland. But I really like Portland. That's a sneaky team this year. Yeah. I think the Grizzlies are going to be the 6 seed. That's where I'm at. And I think that they are going to probably lose in the first round. I want to stress that. But I think that they are a team that is going to see a resurgent Ja Morant. I think that you're going to see, to credit Tuamasa Isolo, there's folks in the comments that say, I hate Tuamasa Isolo because he's not Taylor Jenkins.
Yeah.
I think this maybe is a bold prediction in and of itself. I think you are going to see the best 2-man game actions between Jaren and Ja that we've seen in their entire careers together. Because that's always been a point of emphasis. These 2 franchise cornerstones that for some reason the 2-man game doesn't click. I think that the last couple of years of Jaren developing his offensive game, it's going to allow for those 2 guys to play better together than they ever have before. And you're betting on health. I think the Grizzlies make the playoffs. I do. And maybe it's the Kool-Aid. Maybe it's just the joy of Grizzmas Eve. But I am cautiously optimistic about this team going into the season.
Yeah, and it's not a wild thing to say. It's not an overly bold prediction. I think that the Grizzlies are going to be, as long as they have Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. on the floor, and you get Zach Edey back. You got to get Zach Edey back.
That's going to happen at some point.
You got to get Zach Edey back ASAP. I mean, he's got to be back because without Zach Edey, I really don't see it. But with those guys on the floor, they're always going to be structured in a way where they can compete with a lot of teams in the West. So, I'm not opposed to the idea, but, man, look, it's just some things are going to have to fall their way for sure. I agree with you on the Clippers from the standpoint of they're going to deal with injuries, but this is one of the deeper rosters. There's not a player on the Clippers that you can convince me if that one player gets hurt, they're doomed. Not even Kawhi Leonard, because you'd still have, their projected starting lineup right now is James Harden, Bradley Beal, Kawhi, John Collins, and Ivica Zubac. Their second line lineup, we're talking about Chris Paul, who started pretty much his entire life. Bogdan Bogdanovic, who's been a 6th man of the year candidate in his past. Nicholas Batum and Brook Lopez are old, but they are productive. And then Chris Dunn, who just had a really strong defensive campaign for the Clippers. So, their second line is, really good.
Again, if it was 2019, I'd be terrified.
Me
utterly
too.
horrified.
You can't even put that. There's no way you can put that team together.
But I mean, there's a lot of max contracts on that roster. But I do think that there's some variance there, right? And I don't know. I'm a karma guy. The stuff with Pablo Torre and all the there's a karma thing going on there, man. I don't know. It might get hit hard. It's a feeling. It's a vibe. It's an aura, as the kids say. There's something there. I don't know.
But if you're betting on somebody to blow it, the Clippers are the bet to. That's the team to bet on to do that. They've done it
absolutely
a bunch.
Yes. Thanks for hanging out with us here on today's episode of Locked On Grizzlies. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. For your second listen, go find Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Josh Lloyd hosts the #1 fantasy basketball podcast, giving you daily tips and helping you win your league, all while making you a smarter NBA fan. Find Locked On Fantasy Basketball on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Tomorrow, it is Grizzmas, Damichael. Grizzmas Day. Grizzlies basketball finally counts. We know Ja Morant's going to play. We know Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to play. Knock on all of the pieces of wood in your general vicinity. Holy moly, finally, after a long offseason of uncertainty, we start getting answers. Grizzlies basketball is back.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. This is what we've been talking about for months and months and months. And it's not just Grizzlies basketball being back. It's the excitement of seeing, those 2 guys, man. Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. is not something I take for granted. Especially, you've been covering the Grizzlies, or you've been watching the Grizzlies, or you've been a fan of the Grizzlies for years. You haven't had this star power in Memphis to this level. You had the toughness, you had the culture and identity in the last decade. But, when we go to other cities, I can vouch for this. When we are in Portland or in Atlanta or in Charlotte, Ja Morant, when he's coming out that tunnel, there's a whole bunch of kids and parents lined up, waiting on him to come out when he's coming out there for warm up. So yeah, it's just the excitement of that whole thing and seeing it play out again.
Marc Gasol and Zach Randolph and Mike Conley, for me, are the greatest Memphis Grizzlies players of all time. And Tony Allen's on that list too, of course. Don't want to disrespect the grindfather. Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. are the two most talented players in Memphis Grizzlies history, and they're on their way to being the greatest. You know what makes those guys in front of them the greatest? They won. It's time to win. And Ja and Jaren, as the hype video from Moneybag Yo, maybe you didn't know who Shinedown was. Maybe people were surprised I know who Moneybag Yo is. They're the vets now. They're the vets. Yep. They're the guys. It's time to win, and it's time to ride your stars, and that's exactly what the Grizzlies plan on doing in this new era that gets started tomorrow. Hopefully you'll be making us a part of your game day readiness experience here on Locked On Grizzlies. Make sure you're liking, commenting, rating, reviewing, subscribing on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, wherever you get podcasts. Hang out with Damichael and I. Become an everydayer. Make sure you're with us tomorrow. The season is here. Rejoice. One more sleep till Grizzmas, everyone. For Damichael Cole, I'm Joe Mullinax. See ya.